What is up? I'm Zach Pfeiffer, and this is your recap of Survivor 46, Episode 8, Hide and Seek. It was good. It was so good, guys. I have no idea what is going on in Q's head, but this is Q's episode, and it was wild. I'm gonna touch on the pointers of this episode, because it was really entertaining, but there wasn't like that much that happened. A lot of camp life, which I appreciated. Some hide and seek, which was also really interesting. I'll talk about two like really big topics: taking claim for Soda's boot and Q. So we get back, and Venus is on cloud 9. Like, she thinks she did it. She really thinks she did it, and it's a lot more clear to me now what actually happened with that vote. It's clear that Tevin orchestrated the vote and voted Soda just in case. Soda played like a shot in the dark as a backup, which I appreciate, because in the past, like 45, there was no vote splitting whatsoever, and it was insane to me. So Tevin's like, I cannot believe Venus is claiming this vote. It's laughable. He is like gaslighting her. He's laughing at her behind her back, which is like kind of sad. Like, I'm very team Venus in the season. Like, I know many of you have your opinions about her, but I'm loving her. And to have like Tevin just like talk mad shit and like laugh at her, it's like not the most fun thing to watch. But what's even funnier is over on the side is Liz, who, to her defense, has been saying Soda since day one, and we gotta get rid of Soda. Soda gotta go to. And she is also really kind of spicy, because she's like, Tevin and Venus are running around acting like they are the ones who got Soda out, when I'm the one who said Soda all along. And I think this is a classic situation where a lot of people had the same target, and they, from their perspective, they think that they did it. They think they did the deed. But it was a collective thing. A lot of pieces had to come together, and it's going to be like a final three moment to decide who was responsible for this, because some may say it was a Charlie and Maria moment that got Soda out. Unfortunately, I don't think it was Venus's move particularly. Yes, she was vocal about it, but she didn't have like the social clout to like sway people. So like a lot of the people she was talking to were like already swayed. I think Liz had her mind up from the get-go, and in this episode we clearly see that Liz likes to like kind of stick her heels in and like do what she's gonna do, like with Tevin. So like Liz and Venus were gonna vote for her. Tevin voted Soda just in case. Soda voted Venus, so right there it's a tie. So Maria and Charlie were really deciding votes in this. So like some could argue Maria and Charlie were responsible for this boot, but in my opinion, I think it was a group effort. And I think that if there weren't so many egos over at Nami and they weren't so fractured, then they would have been able to like come together and be like, we did this together because for the sake of our group. But they're all hungry for that move. It's a wild convergence of egos, and I love it. So I hope that, I don't think it will carry on, because Venus is going to continue to think that she did it. Tevin's gone, and Liz is just stepping into this power position now. Are we sleeping on Liz, everyone? Like, blurg, Liz Lemon's out for revenge. Like, she is playing the game, and I'm not mad about it. Liz was on the bottom of like my popularity list going into the season, and now I'm like, why are Venus and Liz my two favorite people? Oh god, what's happening with 46? All right, and then the flip side, the other thing that was really interesting this week is hide and seek. And this like kind of tiptoes into like Q's breakdown for the episode, because Q unhinged, and I love it. Like, so far, Q has targeted people for saying they like Aubrey, for voting against the 6, and for being really good at hide and seek. Like, what? But the hide and seek is so cute. They all play hide and seek, and I actually like ranked how they did. And so Charlie is decided to be seeking, which is like, says something. They did this at random, or did he volunteer? Interesting. Liz is found first. Great, good job, Liz. You know, not trying too hard, just like kind of floating along. followed by Venus, who tried really hard but was smelled out. Tevin, and Tiff, and Q, Kenzie. Maria put like twigs in her hair, was trying to camouflage, which was really funny. She's like, I blended right in. It was like, and then last but not least, we have Hunter and Ben, who are the last two standing. Ben did a really good job. Like, it was so funny. He had that green shirt, so he just like wrapped it around himself and just like, what was it? And Hunter was 20 feet in the air above the camp, and the shots of them are so funny because he's just like, and then you have like, they're all sitting and they're like, Hunter, the game's over. And I remember this as a kid of like being in a really good hiding spot or like can't find someone, and you're like, okay, it's over, like, where are you? And you're just like, you'll never find me. Because like when people say the game's over, it's like even more of like a feather in your cap, because like they can't find you and you're still hiding, and you're like, I'm so good at this game. And I remember doing that. I was like six or seven, because it was my old house before we moved when I was 7. And I hid in this closet, and they opened the closet like 12 times. They could not find me. And like it got to the point where they stopped playing. I remember my sister was like on the couch watching TV, and I was like, you didn't find me. And they're like, where were you? And it's like such a thrill. But in a game like this, Hunter really popped off in this episode and like revealed a lot about his game. So Q's not crazy for like using this as like, you know, a little fishing out of who's playing and who's should be a threat. And he wasn't the only one doing this. Venus was clocking this. I think Charlie was kind of clocking this too throughout the challenge, through the game, not the challenge. But Hunter, you know, last one standing, was up in the tree, and you know, you have Tevin being like, or Q being like, he's right there. It's great. It was such good television. And then we get to one of the best challenges in Survivor, hugging the pole. Nothing will beat Parvati playing this, just like hugging it and holding off. Like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, check it out. Search Parvati Survivor Pole Challenge. But yeah, it was pretty fun to watch, and I was cheering for Charlie towards the end of that, because I'm just like, Hunter's doing a really good game, but he's like, would be such a boring winner. And if we're gonna have a boring winner in the new era, like, let it be me when I'm cast. Except I would never make it boring. I'd make it so spicy. But he wins, and then he does this thing where he like falls back, and I was like, and Jeff was like, oh no, he's gonna fall. I'm gonna save him. And I was just like, I was just kidding. I was having fun. And if I was on that bench and I just lost, I'd been like, Hunter, next. So we get back to the beach. And so I go into this episode thinking Q is going to be the one to go, because I think that Tiffany and Kenzie will want to like take the heat off of them. They'll like, you know, the numbers are getting even. We're going to want to like make the Yanu threat seem as small as possible, especially after the Tika 3 did what they did 2 seasons ago. But we end up like kind of having this back and forth between Tevin and Tiffany. What? And so Q leads this charge against Tiffany because Tiffany wants to go for Maria, which, great move. Tiff is like, okay, this like +6 alliance is like fine, but like I'm thinking about my game. I'm thinking about what I need to do, not Q's game, not the agreements he's made. So Maria is like the mastermind of Siga, and it's like a huge like think tank. A lot of people are around Maria, so like let's get her out. And Q's like, she's part of the 6, so now I gotta go for Tiffany, which is like funny because Tiffany's also part of the 6. And Yanu, like, what are you doing, bro? So he leads this charge against Tiffany, and then this is why you never tell anybody anything about idols or advantages. He tells Maria that she has an idol, and I think Q just cost Tiffany the game because Tiffany was doing so well. And now I think she's going to get either idled out, or the threat's going to fall on her until she's removed and plays the idol or goes home with the idol in her pocket. I'm upset, and so is she. So we're going for Tiff. But then there's another charge that's going for Tevin, led by Liz. Hey, girl. And she wants Tevin out. And, you know, she starts talking to people, and, like, people agree with it. People are like, Tevin is a threat. And, like, Venus is like, I've been saying this since day one. Like, we got to get rid of Tevin. And it proves that getting rid of Soda was a bad move, because with Soda and Tevin in the game, I don't think people would have taken a swing at Tevin. But now that Soda's gone, Tevin's on the chopping block all of a sudden. And Tevin has no idea. No idea. He's gonna go for Tiffany. I think that works for him. There's always Venus as a backup. And it's chaos. It's chaos on the beach. They're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And there's this great moment when like the six are kind of trying to get together, and like Venus is walking away, and they're like, "Can I join you?" And Hunter's like, "No." And then Venus comes over and he's like, "What are you talking about?" And Liz is like, "We need to talk goodbye," and like sends them away. So it wasn't the six. It was just like half of them. I don't know how this is working, but it's chaos, and Venus is trying to play, and she's just not playing very tactfully, even though I love the queen. And then you have, Q trying to get this stuff together and get the target back on Tiffany. And then we go to tribal, and it is insane. It's wild, Not too long into tribal council, Q's like, "Send me home, vote for me. I made a mistake, and now I must go." And they're all like, "What? What?" And they all are freaking out. And then like Tiffany's finally like, "Can we talk, Jeff?" He's like, "It's your tribal," and we go live. And this is one of the most interesting live tribals I've seen in a while, because I find that most of the time live tribals don't really change the vote. It's just like used to like reassure people, or it's used to like solidify plan B if like an idol is used or something like that. So you have them all talking, and names are rushing around, and they're like, "Should we just do Venus? Should we vote Q? Should we stay on Tiff? What about Tevin?" So we have 4 names that are like floating around that could potentially go home before this vote, and it makes such an exciting vote, because I'm like, I don't know who's going home. And like for the diehards who are like all about strategy, like, I would love to. I can't wait for Q to leave the game so I can really pick his brain to hear what he's thinking about in this particular vote. But like, what is going on? Is this a strategy? Is this earnest? Is it a mixture of both? Like, what? But we get to the vote. Everybody like goes up to the voting booth and is like, "Stupidest tribal ever. So dumb. This is stupid. So stupid." And I'm like, cheers, y'all. And then we get the vote. And I was shocked, honestly. 2 for Venus and 8 for Tevin. And Tevin's blindsided. And I honestly thought Tevin was going to go like final 6. Like, he was the opening monologue of the season. He'd been such a narrator of the season. So it was shocking to see that he had an early departure. Like, not too far into the merge. He's out. Leaving 9 people left. I thought it was wild. I thought it was a crazy episode. And it just makes you really excited to see the chaos that's going to ensue, because every time there's a vote like this, the intensity increases. Not only are you getting closer to the end, but the paranoia is building. You're getting tired. You're getting more hungry. You're getting more like wild. And yeah, I'm pumped now. Another thing in tribal, Q tells Tiffany that he told Maria about the idol, so she knows, and at least that's good. So we'll see what happens with that information. I think I said this last week, but I do think going into this next episode, Q will be going home, unless he doesn't win an immunity. Like, he is such a liability, and everyone realizes it now. And it's really funny because Q has become the Banu of the Anu tribe, and they tried so hard and got rid of Banu because of this very reason. And Q is the one who turned out to be exactly what they feared Banu to be. So, ironic. But wild episode, y'all. I can't say it enough. Wild. Next episode is called Spicy Jeff. So I'm thinking Jeff might get a little spicy, which would be great. I love spicy Jeff. And I do think Q will go. Q will probably go, and then it's always going to be between somebody and Venus at this point. It's poor Venus. I hope Venus gets further, like much further into the game. That would be lovely to see the jury build of people who were just so against Venus, to see Venus still in the game. I would love to see that. But my money's on Q this week. Yeah, unless he's got something else crazy up his sleeve. We'll see. But that was episode 8, y'all, and I will talk to you next week. Mwah.